The Seattle Seahawks just won a Super Bowl, went 14-3, and built the most complete team in football. Yet the NFL is already moving on. One warning has been sent. Keep sleeping on Seattle, and they will make everyone pay.
Have you sent like a gift, maybe even like a couple Madden games to Green Bay yet to thank them for resetting the market?
Definitely them. I sent one to them and definitely one to Tennessee.
Like, it's kind of nice, right? It's like, Devontae Wyatt, thank you very much. What is the holdup? And you know I love Mr. Light. I love him. I love him so much. Like, are you going on the boat? Have you been on the boat? Get on the boat. Let's go.
I'm not sure. I think we'll see what's going on.
Peter, what could be going on? How close are you to getting this thing done? I don't want this to be a storyline.
I don't know. I hope we're close. My fingers are crossed. I think.
If you want the recipe of how to win a Super Bowl, I took note of this, right? In that highlight, the top 10 plays, 5 were offensive, 4 were defensive, and 2 were on special teams. If you talk about balance, that was the 2025 Seattle Seahawks. Now, looking ahead to the 2026 Seattle Seahawks, guys, I got to ask you, why are the defending Super Bowl champs being overlooked in the NFC?
I want football back. That's what I got out of that. NFC South can... we'll see. And then the thing that is so enticing and so fascinating is that they're being overlooked because of their division. They had 2 teams that almost made it, and going into week 17 last year, we could see what was going on. The Rams 12-5, the 49ers 12-5, missing Brock Purdy for a few of those games. But that being said, my favorite thing about this Seattle Seahawks team is they kind of took the demeanor of their quarterback. They're cool. They're calm. They're collected. And it's fine if no one's talking about them. We'll come out, we'll just handle our business.
They prefer it that way, right?
They prefer it that way.
Man, you take the words out of my mouth, Mitch, because when you look at this team and you look at this league, it's a quarterback-driven league, right? And I'm just going to rattle off some teams from the NFC. Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Packers, Bears, Rams, Bucks, Lions. All those guys have quarterbacks that the league can market, thrive off. They're flashy. They have the aura about themselves. Sam Darnold, he's quiet, he's cool, no attention on me, right? So I feel like the league can tend to forget about them. And then when you look at their defense, you might want to wake up. If you're still sleeping on them from 2025, you might want to wake up. And one of the big reasons is Nick Emmanwori, number 3. He reminds me a lot of Derwin James. This kid can play the big nickel. He can play the dime. He, just like Jackson Smith and Jigma, in the factor that he is for them on the offensive side of the ball, Nick has the same kind of presence. And I alluded back to what you said, Mitch. I just think they're disrespected. I think that, you know, they're known for their defense and their special teams and not the big wow factor on the offensive side at the quarterback position, even though he won the Super Bowl. And I think that they go deep into the playoffs again and have a chance to do it all over again because of how he's playing and because of what that defense brings to the table.
I want to say that they're overlooked. I'm just saying that the Rams were just louder this offseason. So they're just going to be like, hey, we're just going to move on. Fans are so quickly to move on. People want to move on so fastly. Like, we can't forget, this is a 14-3 team. This is the Super Bowl defending champ team. We can't forget what they're coming into, and it's really hard to repeat a Super Bowl. I can tell you that I've been to 2 Super Bowls back-to-back, losing one and winning one. It is very hard to get there. And the whole thing about recovery. Can we recover from the last year to this year? And they lost some key people. Like, if we look at it, the Walker, Bowie, Cody, Wolin, the offense coordinator, they're losing people. So all that being said, can they get to the same rhythm with somebody else coming in there? Can they keep the same identity on offense that there was last year? I'm not saying this was a top-ranked offense, but they're the most consistent team overall in the NFL. From defense to offense, they played together as a unit.
Well, when you have the pieces that they have, right, the defense that they have, yes, they lost some players, some key players, especially in the secondary, and they lost their offensive coordinator. You can always have that confidence if you're the Seattle Seahawks that we will be back. Why? Because when you have that dominant defense and that spectacular special teams, your floor is higher, right? It's not necessarily about the ceiling, right? It's if all goes wrong, if everything goes wrong and everybody plays bad, at least I know I won't get lower than this. And when they are the Seattle Seahawks, that's what they have right now. It starts with their front, goes to their linebackers, and all of those beautiful gifts they have over there with Nick Emmanwori in the secondary, and all those weapons with Witherspoon and all of that. I'm so excited to see what the Seattle Seahawks do in 2026.
The Seattle Seahawks did the impossible. They won the Super Bowl. They finished the season with a brutal 14-3 record. They built the most complete roster in football. And somehow, the NFL has already moved on. While everyone is chasing the next superstar, the next flashy quarterback, the next offseason headline, Seattle is sitting quietly in the shadows, exactly where they want to be. Because the biggest mistake the league can make is forgetting what happened in 2025. This was not a lucky run. This was not a team that caught fire at the right moment. This was a team that dominated every phase of football. The Seahawks didn't just win games. They controlled them. Their defense allowed only 16.9 points per game. Their postseason performance produced one of the best point differentials by a Super Bowl champion since the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they became the first Super Bowl champion in NFL history to complete the entire postseason without committing a turnover. Yet somehow, the conversation has shifted. The Rams are louder. The 49ers are louder. The Eagles, Cowboys, Packers, Lions, every team with a marketable quarterback seems to receive more attention. But Seattle? Silence. And maybe that is exactly what makes them dangerous. Because this team does not need approval. They already have the trophy. But why has America already forgotten a champion? Why is a team that went 14-3 being treated like an afterthought? The answer may come down to one thing the NFL has always valued more than winning: the quarterback spotlight. The NFL is a quarterback-driven league. That is the reality. Look around the NFC. The Eagles have their identity. The Cowboys have their star power. The Packers, Bears, Rams, Lions, and Buccaneers all have quarterbacks who dominate headlines. They sell jerseys. They create conversations. They create drama. But Seattle's quarterback is different. Sam Darnold is not chasing attention. He is not searching for cameras. He is not trying to become the face of the league. He just wins. And that creates a strange situation. A Super Bowl winning quarterback is somehow becoming invisible. Think about that. A player who just led a team to the biggest victory in football is not being discussed like the league's biggest names. And maybe that is because Darnold's personality represents the entire Seahawks organization. Calm, controlled, unbothered. They do not need everyone talking about them. They actually prefer it. Because while everyone else is fighting for attention in August, Seattle is preparing for January. But ignoring the quarterback is only one part of the mistake. Because if people are still sleeping on Seattle, they have not looked closely enough at the defense waiting behind him. The biggest reason Seattle can repeat is simple. Their defense gives them a safety net. In today's NFL, teams are built around explosive offenses, high-scoring quarterbacks, highlight plays, fantasy football numbers. But championships are still won by complete teams. And Seattle proved that better than anyone. Remember the championship formula. In their top 10 plays from the season, 5 were offensive plays, 4 were defensive plays, 2 came from special teams. That is balance. That is the identity of the 2025 Seahawks. And heading into 2026, their defense might become even more dangerous. The name everyone needs to watch? Nick Emmanwori, a young defensive weapon who has already drawn comparisons to players like Derwin James. Why? Because he can do everything. Big nickel, dime packages, coverage, physicality, leadership. He gives Seattle another chess piece in a league where defensive flexibility decides playoff games. And when you combine him with players like Devin Witherspoon and an elite secondary foundation, Seattle still has one of the most terrifying defensive identities in football. The league may be focused on offensive fireworks, but Seattle knows something everyone eventually learns. When the weather gets cold, when the pressure rises, when every mistake becomes fatal, defense travels. But every champion faces the same terrifying question. Can they survive losing the pieces that helped them reach the top? Winning a Super Bowl is difficult. Winning another one is almost impossible. The Seahawks know that, because history is full of champions who disappeared immediately after reaching the mountain. And Seattle enters 2026 facing real challenges. They lost important pieces. Kenneth Walker III moved on. They lost veteran leadership, including Bobby Wagner and Cody Barton. They lost their offensive coordinator. The biggest question is not whether Seattle has talent. They do. The question is, can they rebuild the same chemistry? Can new players maintain the same standard? Can they find the same offensive rhythm? Because last year's Seahawks were not just talented, they were consistent. Every single week, every single unit played together. Offense, defense, special teams, a complete machine. That is why their floor is so high. Even if things go wrong, even if players struggle, even if the offense takes time to adjust, Seattle still has a defense capable of keeping them alive. That is the difference between a good team and a championship team. Good teams need everything to go perfectly. Championship teams can survive when things go wrong. And Seattle belongs in that second category. And now the question facing the entire NFL is not whether Seattle was good enough last year. The question is whether everyone else made the biggest mistake by forgetting them. The NFL loves new stories, new stars, new contenders, new predictions. But sometimes the most dangerous team is the one nobody wants to talk about. The Seattle Seahawks are not chasing respect. They already earned it. They have the Super Bowl ring. They have the 14-win season. They have the defense. They have the special teams. And they have a quarterback who has already proven he can handle the biggest moment. The rest of the league can continue talking about the louder teams, the flashier teams, the teams selling hope in August. But eventually, everyone has to face reality. The Seahawks are still here. And if the NFL keeps sleeping on Seattle, they will wake up the hard way. Because the quietest team in football might also be the one nobody wants to see in January. So the question is simple. Are the Seahawks actually being overlooked? Or is the entire NFL making the mistake of forgetting a champion? Because if Seattle repeats what they did in 2025, the league will not be able to ignore them anymore.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.